Hey guys, this lesson is on nucleic acids. It's our last organic molecule. It's made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and phosphorus. So if you remember back, all organic molecules contain the carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Proteins had nitrogen, just like nucleic acids, and nucleic acids now have phosphorus. Okay, so that is a unique element to nucleic acids. Now, your nucleic acids are important for storing genetic information. So with that said, you should automatically think of examples such as DNA and RNA. Okay, so your DNA is important for storing the genetic information. The RNA is important for carrying out the instructions that is within the DNA. Okay, the overall function of storing that genetic information is to make proteins. Okay, so you can see how one organic molecule connects to another. Now, the monomer for nucleic acid is a nucleotide. Okay, so this word right here, nucleotide. Your nucleotide has three things that make it up: a sugar, a nitrogenous base, and a phosphate group. So here's a picture of that. This is your nitrogenous base, this is your sugar, and this is your phosphate. Okay, so depending on if you're dealing with DNA or RNA, your base and your sugar could be different, but your phosphate is always going to be the same. So it doesn't matter if you're dealing with a DNA or an RNA molecule, your phosphate is always the same. Okay, but let's look at some differences between DNA and RNA. Okay, so this side of the PowerPoint is for DNA, and this side is for RNA. So DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. Deoxyribo comes from the type of sugar that is in DNA. So this is the sugar, and you know it's the sugar because it ends in ose. Okay, so deoxyribose is the sugar found in DNA, and that gives DNA its name of deoxyribonucleic acid. Nucleic acid is the Na part. Okay, the sugar for RNA is ribose. Again, it ends in ose. Okay, so the name for RNA is ribonucleic acid, and again, that comes from the sugar. Okay, so if we look at this drawing again, if this sugar is deoxyribose, then this nucleotide, this whole thing here, is a building block for DNA. If this is ribose, then this nucleotide is a building block for ribonucleic acid, RNA. Okay, now let's look at the bases. Okay, so here's your base. There are 4 different bases that could be there. Okay, A stands for adenine, C stands for cytosine, G stands for guanine, and T stands for thymine. Okay, if you look over here for RNA, they have the same bases except for this last one. Okay, so they have A, C, and G, adenine, cytosine, and guanine, just like DNA, but instead of thymine, they have U, which stands for uracil. Okay, so if this is deoxyribose, and this is A, C, G, or T, then this is a nucleotide for DNA. If this is ribose, and this is A, C, G, or U, then this is a nucleotide for RNA. Okay, so the thing that makes it different is the base and the sugar. Okay, if you see a U here, it's RNA. If you see a T, it's DNA. Okay, and there are some base pairing rules that go along with this. Okay, looking at the rest of the molecules, let's see. So DNA is double-stranded, RNA is single-stranded. Both of them are helical in structure, which means they're spiral. DNA is found in the nucleus. It cannot leave the nucleus of a eukaryotic cell. RNA, though, can move in and out of the nucleus, so it's really important on transporting information out of the nucleus. DNA's job is to store the information. RNA's job is to carry out the instructions. So it's kind of like the DNA is the blueprint, and the RNA basically represents the workers that make the building. Okay. Now here is a picture comparing DNA and RNA. Over here, I just want to point out what a nucleotide looks like in an actual drawing like this. So here's your phosphate group, here's your sugar, and here's your base. So these three things together make up a nucleotide. So here's one nucleotide, here's another nucleotide, here's another nucleotide, and you can see they're paired up on this side. Okay, you can tell this is DNA because it's a double helix. You have a strand here and you have a strand here. Okay, you can also tell this is DNA because you see the T in there. That's thymine. Okay, you can see a T here, a T here. So that is thymine, and that's unique to DNA. Now, the sugar, it does not tell you what the name of the sugar is, but those sugars are deoxyribose because it's DNA. On this side, I'm going to point out a nucleotide again. Here's your phosphate group, your sugar, and your base. So here is a nucleotide. Here's another nucleotide and another nucleotide. Now I can tell this one is RNA because it's single-stranded, and I can tell that it's RNA because there's a U here for uracil. Now the sugar, since it's not labeled, I can tell, since it's a U here, I know it's RNA, and the sugar for RNA is ribose. Okay? So those are some characteristics. Now if you look back over on the DNA, you can see how it's paired. Adenine and thymine are always paired together, and cytosine and guanine are always paired together. Another thing to notice is that you see a double base. You see how there are two kind of polygons together paired with a single one. Okay, so you always have a double paired with a single. This one is called a purine, and this one is called a pyrimidine. But the way the molecule works is that you always have a bigger structure paired with a smaller structure. Okay, so this is your DNA molecule, and this is your RNA molecule.